The events keep reoccurring that is causing the same set of delay. Objections continue to be made that are unsubstantiated, and that is taking an unusually long period of time. Just now, for example, a box is just completed. 11 objections were made because the persons voted, according to the objectioner, voted with what you call identity, affidavit of identity. And when the list was examined, those names were not even ticked, meaning that those serial numbers did not vote. But when that exercise is completed, 20 to 30 minutes are wasted. And these are the things that continue to consume valuable time. You saw today an incident where someone coughed or something in the room, and that became a big fiasco. Doctors had to be called in. The process was stopped. Persons in the room were detained and had to have been screened, etc. So these sideshows, as I have been describing them, continue to consume valuable time which can be spent on counting of the ballots. We have been repeatedly pointing out that these persons who are standing and identifying serial numbers, I object to this serial number on the ground that this person is dead. They are not producing any evidence to show that that person was dead on election day. They are saying that these persons were migrated, were not in Guyana on election day. We are saying, what is your evidence to say that? Because these persons, there's a ballot there that person is supposed to have cast. That person would have identified himself with an ID card. That person would have been permitted, the presiding officer would have looked at a folio which has a pictorial representation of that person matching the biographic data on that person's identification card or whatever form of ID that person would have used to vote. Then when that person would have been given a ballot, the marked list, the line would have been drawn through the list of electors for that station, crossing off that person's name. And then at the end of the process, that person would have cast a ballot, and at the end of the day, that ballot would have been counted. And that all the ballots for that station would have been totaled. And a polling agent representing all the political parties, a presiding officer, and an assistant presiding officer would have been present in that room and observed that entire process. And the summary of that process, the cumulative summary of that process, is then reduced into a document called a statement of poll. And every person that participated in that polling place for that day as workers are required to sign that statement of poll, endorsing that the information contained in that statement of poll are accurate, legitimate, and credible. So after all of that is concluded, for you to come now 2 months after to make an allegation that a person did not vote who has a particular serial number without producing a shred of evidence, in my view, is an act of ludicrosity. So we have instructed our persons in the recount process to record objections like that or observations of that type.